Okay, so third time's the charm here. Sorry for the delay, Jake. We've had some technical difficulties. But here we go. Market research, finding and validating product opportunities for FBA, Amazon FBA. First, I just want to clarify some of the things I know are going to come up. Amazon FBA, this is one of several methods of listing and selling products on Amazon. You own the product, the brand or brands, and the listings. Amazon stores your inventory and fulfills customer orders. There are fees involved. There's a referral fee. 15% of your list price is going to go to Amazon for the ability to list on their website. And there's going to be a fulfillment fee. This is based on the cost to Amazon for them to pick, pack, and ship your product to a customer. This has to do a lot of times with product size and weight. Then we have BSR, that's the bestseller rank. The lower this number, the higher the revenue and or units that are being sold by that seller. So a low BSR means you're number one. And ASIN. An ASIN is just the unique product identification number used by Amazon. The tools, just briefly, I use Helium 10. There is a free Helium 10 Chrome extension that I recommend you download and use. And then there's Helium 10's paid program, which is a subscription service. That's what I use. There are other ways to do research on Amazon, but at the end of the day, I would never consider launching a product without first having looked at the numbers from a program such as Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or one of the other competitors. So in my mind, it's like if that's going to be a hard stop for me, I don't really bother with other methods. And I recommend that if you're serious about this, you get Helium 10 as well. I believe that there's a lot of promos out there. You can get like your first month free or something like that. And that way you can familiarize yourself with the software, see if any of your ideas pan out, and then just cancel if you're not really ready to pull the trigger. The three key factors, in my opinion, are number one, demand. If there's no proof of demand, you do not pass go, you do not collect $200. It's a non-starter. The first thing that you need to determine is that there's actually going to be demand for your product once you make it. This is why big companies spend so much money on like think tanks and bringing in custom groups of customers and asking them what they want. You know, Ford isn't going to make a car until they know that the car they're making is something that a bunch of people want to buy. So demand is key. Only after you've established demand do you even care to look at the competition. And judging the competition has to do not so much with competing against other sellers per se. It more just has to do with your ability to rank on the first page of that Amazon search result. If you can't rank on that first page in a profitable manner, you're not going to make enough sales to be profitable long term. So there's a few factors that go into that. First would be the number of other sellers. Second would be the quality of the other listings. And then third, which I don't hear many people talk about, is actually the revenue of the other top sellers. We'll go into detail about why that is. And then the third factor is profitability. If you don't have any margin at the end of the day, you don't have a business, you're just donating money to Jeff Bezos. So he's got enough. I think he's good. So let's not do that. Let's make sure that you can source the product, have it shipped here to the United States, and still have some margin left, some wiggle room to run ads profitably. And then fourth is kind of like a bonus point. It's scalability. And by this, I don't mean so much that one product. I mean your brand or your niche. Are there potentially other opportunities for you to list a product serving a similar customer avatar or in a similar niche? This to me is important because I'm trying to not rely on just one product. The beauty of selling on Amazon is that once you have your seller account and you've learned the basics, you can scale rapidly by simply listing other products to sell. And each subsequent product, in theory, gets easier and easier, not only because you have more skill and experience, but also because your brand is gaining trust and you have proof in the form of customer reviews. And so even if maybe you couldn't have competed on the second and third product if they had been your number one, you can now start to add other products and benefit from the growth that your first product and your brand has gained in the meantime. So that's the short form version. Now I just want to take a moment to show you what this looks like in practice. Okay, so here I am on Amazon. I've got my Helium 10 Chrome extension running, and we're just going to start with one method of research. I recently got a puppy, so I'm just going to type in puppy up here, start typing, and Helium 10 is going to give me a lot of associated keywords and their search volume. So like puppy teething toys is really going off. I'm going to check that out. Now, some initial things to keep in mind when you're doing Amazon research is these sponsored products. So this means that this company is running an ad to achieve this spot in the search rank. So it's not an organic search result, but they have won the bid for that keyword and they're showing at the top of the page. So what you always want to do is just come to the first organic listing here and see how it looks. This is sold by Amazon. That's what this little icon means. This is a product that's sold by a United States seller, and this is a seller in China. So when I'm looking at this, I noticed that a lot of these listings have tons and tons of reviews, like thousands of reviews. So I'm not super stoked on that. I'm also not super stoked on these price points, $5, $6, $7. But I do like the idea of being in this kind of niche of puppy stuff. So we're going to head over to the actual Helium 10 software, and I'm going to open up a tool called their Magnet Keyword Research, and I'm going to run a search for, I don't know, puppy teething, and it's going to generate a list of all the associated keywords. And so the first thing we can do here is narrow this search down. The best way, or the first way that I like to do this, is by increasing the amount of words that are in the keyword string. The more words in the keyword string, the more likely that you're coming across a search for something very specific, and that specificity means that there's a lot of intent behind the search and it'll be easy to serve that customer. We'll know exactly what they want. So I'm going to say we want at least 3 words, and then search volume. I don't really want to see anything less than 500 searches a month, nor am I particularly interested in anything more than maybe, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000 searches a month, just because that's probably too generic of a keyword. And we're going to apply the filters, come down here, and I can search or sort them a couple ways. I could sort by the search volume, highest to lowest. Another thing I could do is filter by the Magnet IQ score. And this score is something that Helium 10 does. It's basically taking the search volume per month and comparing it to the number of competing products that they think are associated with that listing. Now, this is not always correct. Sometimes they think there are products associated with a keyword, and when you look at it, you realize that it's actually not the case. But for the purpose of this example, we're just going to go ahead and shift over to looking at the IQ score for some of this and just scroll down. And one of these I think is interesting, puppy teething gel. It's not something I've ever heard of. There's 500 so people looking a month, so it's not like there's crazy amount of search traffic, but I do think that's interesting. So I'm going to pull that up in Amazon. And now what we're going to see is that these are all sponsored products, and nothing really looks like it's actually for puppies here. This I think is for babies. This is a teething ring. These are teething sticks. This is like a dental gel. It looks like it's more like a toothpaste type of thing for plaque and tartar. And then here we go. We've made it to the first organic listing, and we do have pumpkin butt for pets puppy teething oil to stop chewing and relieve discomfort. So that's interesting. And then right next to that we have a soothing gel for sore gums, but this also looks like it might actually be for human consumption. Scrolling down, we're back to like chew toys and another oral gel for dogs that looks like more like a toothpaste type, oral hygiene type thing. So this is super interesting. There's not really any other products being listed to satisfy this keyword demand. So we'll look at this one that is, and you'll notice a couple things. First off, Helium 10 is going to tell me what the 30-day revenue is and the unit sales. So it's doing $5,000 a month revenue, selling 300 products. You know, it's not crazy, but for the purpose of this example, it's pretty good. And then we'll also see here that the review count, or the reviews are not good. So 3.9 average is not very good for a product, so there's definitely room for improvement. And then we come over to the listing health score. This is out of 10, and 8.3 is not very good either. You can kind of just see that the listing images aren't fantastic. They're not really optimizing. They do have teething oil, but the keyword search, remember, was teething gel. And so they don't really have that word gel anywhere in here, which would optimize this for that keyword. If we come down, I like to look at the reviews to see why people don't like it. It says, doesn't last long. Okay, and that's what this person said right here, 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm wondering maybe if instead of it was like an oil, if it could actually be made into like a gel form so that it would stay on their teeth for longer. That would potentially leave us with a better product, and then we would update the listing or improve the listing, improve the title and the ad copy here and the bullets to improve to include the term gel. And this would be something that you could pursue as a product opportunity. This would go kind of on a list for me of like potential product opportunities, and then I would go ahead and refine that list based on other things that I found. So that's one method of doing this research. Another method here that I'll show you is another tool on Helium 10, and it's called Black Box. So we go to Helium 10's Black Box, and what this allows me to do is to search for kind of like underperforming products in a niche or in any category. So let's keep the theme of pets. So I'm in the pet supplies. Remember, we're looking at that review rating. So I'm going to say we don't want anything that's more than a 4.4 star rating on average. And let's say we don't want more than like 1,000 reviews. The price here is important. I'm going to narrow this down between, let's say, $10 and $80. Just because under 10 it's going to be hard to be profitable, and over 80 it's going to be hard to satisfy those customers. Not to say that high-priced items aren't a good idea. They definitely are, but again, keeping this simple for the demo. Monthly revenue, I definitely want something that's doing, $5,000 plus, but I don't want something that's doing like, I don't know, $80,000, $100,000 in revenue per month. And so we can go ahead and search under those constraints, and this is going to give us a list of products that fit that criteria. So as I scroll down here, there's a lot of like food. I'm not super interested in food. There's like costumes, which are potentially seasonal. Not super interested in seasonal stuff. So I've made it all the way back to page 4 here, digging through these, and I've come across this. I don't really know what it is, but we're gonna take a look. Okay, it's some sort of boot. Like, what is this? It's a horse boot. It's weird. I've never seen anything like that. Let's do horse bell boot. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm seeing very low review counts here on these first organic listings. Price points are in the ballpark of what we're looking at. We've got 2 Chinese sellers and an Amazon product, and then a United States seller here. But again, none of these products on the first page have any real reviews, so that's interesting. So what I could do is take maybe these top 3 here, and we can take a deeper dive into this. So I'm going to open up another aspect of my Helium 10, which is this X-ray feature, they call it. I'm going to hide the sponsored products from this result, and I'm going to filter this by the BSR with the highest on top. So we come over here and we can see the review count for the top 3 best sellers, and we have very low reviews, and we also have some pretty low scores here for these reviews. So I'm actually quite interested in this. Our revenues are pretty decent. 13,000, 10,000, 8,000 here. So I like this. There's definitely some money going around in this niche, but it's nothing crazy. One thing you got to keep in mind is if you're looking at a product that's doing like $100,000 in revenue, they're probably doing thousands and thousands and thousands of sales every month. And so what that would mean is to come into that space, you would need to buy a significant amount of inventory. One, to be able to compete with their costs, because as you buy more inventory, your unit cost typically goes down. And two, just so that you remain in stock. It's not going to be worth your while if you go through all the hassle of launching a product and then you only buy enough units to be in stock for like 2 weeks. And now you have to reorder, resupply, and your listing is out of stock for a couple months as you get your resupply order in. So that's one of the reasons why revenue is important to keep in mind. It's basically kind of like how big are the people that you're coming up against. So let's take a look at this one, this $13,000 in revenue. It's got 4.1 star rating. The listing health rating is very low. You can see they only have one photo, so maybe Arma is like a really well-known, or Shires or whatever the brand is. Maybe they're really well-known, and so people just take their word for it. But they're doing almost 1,000 units a month for $13,000. I kind of like this. I kind of like this. This is interesting. So what I'm going to do here is we've kind of identified that there's demand. We've identified that there's room for us to potentially come in to improve this product. So what I'm going to do is see if I can look up approximately how much this would cost me to source and to fulfill. So I'm going to come over to this fee calculator and we'll plug in this product, and it's saying that overall it would cost me $8.35 to have Amazon list this and sell it for me. So that's the Amazon fee, the referral fee there, and then the fulfillment cost. So that leaves us with like 48% margin, $7 profit per. I quite like this, that there's definitely room there. So then what I would do is I would just get an idea of how much I could get this product for. I could head over to Alibaba or similar, and we look for horse, bell, boot. Okay, these are classic. This looks like the same kind of thing. Okay, $6.80, $9.90. Ooh, $14. I don't like that. Here, $5 to $7. Interesting. Another one for 10. So I'm going to say just because we could say that maybe we could source this for, if we were to get a large order, maybe $5 or something like that. And then keep in mind, I think one of these larger sellers, let's look back here, like these we're selling for $36, and they're the same product essentially. So I'm not quite sure why the huge difference in price. Maybe it's the material, but this actually looks closer to this or this. Oh, it looks just like this one, doesn't it? Is that the same exact one? Huh, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug in that number up top here, whatever that was, $36.59. And you'll see that definitely increased our margins, and I'm gonna put in here, let's say we get these for whatever, $7.50 shipped, let's say. So we're still well within the profitable margin here. Even if this cost us $10 to source and everything, that'd still be a $15 profit per product. That's actually really good. And the margin is really good as well. Typically, what I like to see is something that's at least around 5 to 30%, 25% on the low end, 30 to 35 would be good. Anything over 35 is great, just because that allows you to now run ads and still have a pretty good margin even after your ad spend. So that is a quick down and dirty exploration into helium-10 and product opportunity research on Amazon. Hope that helped you out, Jake. Thanks for the question, and I'll see you guys for the next one.